Welcome everybody to Service Drive Revolution. We have a very exciting show for you this Monday. We hope that you are doing good. Today, we are going to talk about why service managers are the future owners, dealers, and general managers. We're going to talk about a new segment we are going to start doing this week. Of course, we're going to take your questions. Some of your questions, honestly, are a little disappointing. They're more like comments than questions, but we're gonna address them anyways. And then first, I had something really crazy happen last night. And then I want to talk about the weirdest thing you've ever seen in a car, Jeremy, in a glove box.
No, we're not talking about that.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen in a customer's car?
I don't know. I always go to handguns. Like, I always feel like that's weird.
Yeah,
oh,
handguns.
I just left that there.
What's
Sorry.
funny is when you have the tech that's like, I refuse to work on the car. There's a gun in there. Like, that's always funny to me. Yeah. That's happened to me a bunch of times. I have to go get the gun, put it in the office, the whole thing. Big, huge bricks of weed, especially at Victor's store.
We just smoked that
Because
stuff.
she was in, up by San Francisco. Yeah. And a lot of, I remember a couple times this 7 Series, like you could smell it. You could smell the weed inside the building.
Yeah, because those are business people up there.
And the cash, guns, same thing. What's the weirdest thing you've seen recently in a glove box, Jeremy?
Well, in the glove box, we actually opened it up and a rabbit jumped out of the glove box. So it was pretty interesting that a rabbit was actually inside the glove box and it jumped out. It was pretty interesting.
So you know that I'm trained in interrogation and I can tell if somebody's lying?
I've heard that about you.
Yeah, you're straight up lying.
I am not.
You know what else I think I could do?
Because one of the sexual toys that fell out of the glove box was called the rabbit. So I wasn't lying.
Oh, got it.
So
Was it a rabbit named Thumper?
Was a rabbit called
XXL,
Rabbit, I
something
think.
like that. I have
But
no
a rabbit
idea.
that takes batteries, right?
The funniest part, though, I had one of my techs walking by, D-Man. I'm all, hey, D, come here. I'm all, hey, the customer wants you to diagnose this. And he grabbed it. It was so
He
funny.
was touching the rabbit?
Yeah, and he didn't have gloves on. I did. So
That is not COVID approved.
Yeah, so how this came up, everybody, is before we started recording, I asked Jeremy, I held up my fingers like this, like a 0, and I said, what is this, Jeremy?
I cannot believe you're sharing this story right now.
And then he goes into a story about how there were sex toys in a customer's car, and this it's super inappropriate, like Jeremy always is, and I was like, no, this is the tax rate in Nevada, because we're thinking about moving our office to Nevada. And so it shows you where Jeremy's mind is, and then what my mind is on saving taxes, and your mind's on rabbits that take
Having
batteries.
fun.
Yeah.
Life is a
Well,
three-letter word.
you're definitely having
Fun.
more fun than I am.
F-U-N.
For
Hey, I got a
sure.
question. So wait a second. Today's topic, you mean that we're going to talk about the hardworking service managers, service advisors out there, and how they can stop working for the man and actually become the man? Is that what we're going to talk about?
Or the Woman.
No, but you can certainly make that point when we get to it.
I'm really excited because this is like a transition for a lot of these guys and gals, and there's a certain mindset.
That is not at all the point I'm going to make, but I think your point will be legitimate and complementary to the point I'm going to make.
You know what else is
Okay.
exciting, guys? So they opened up the new Lego store the other day. It's back and reopening.
They opened up the new Lego store. It's
Yep.
back from COVID.
Yep.
They're opening up the Lego store. Where?
I'm not sure, but people were lined up for blocks.
Get it, Jeremy? Because Legos are blocks. I think the joke that I said was inappropriate for the show would have been better there.
So much better.
But we can't do that because we don't want to be adults on Apple.
Great.
So Jeremy, I've been doing a lot of strategy sessions with independent shops and a couple of dealers. We're going to be busy coming out of this I'm going to tell you that right now. We are busy. I remember when we came out of the recession in 2008, I couldn't handle the business, and now I feel like we're going to scale, and it'll be fine.
I'm really stoked about this.
The thing that I was going to say is that the pattern that I am noticing in service departments across the board, whether you're a dealership or an independent, and I was going to talk to Russo about this, is I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a coaching group for marketing where I'm going to take some shops and I'm going to take some dealers and I'm going to teach them how to do their social media. Because everybody I talk to, I need more traffic. And like literally I'm talking to shops that are paying outside companies to do their social media that suck. That literally are putting up stock images and just doing the basics wrong, and they'll be spending $3,500 to $5,000 a month. They're doing pay-per-click ads and they have no clue what they're doing. And for, I don't know, a fifth of what they're doing, we could teach them how to drive traffic into their service drives and the right kind of traffic. And so I'm thinking about doing that. I'm thinking about like limiting it to like 15, taking 15 shop owners or service managers and meeting with them every couple weeks and giving them homework, doing their stuff. Maybe Russo will jump in and help them with some things and fixing their social media. But it's a disaster.
It is a disaster. I agree 100%. It's sickening to see the same post used from 100 shops, and there's just no authenticity behind it. And here's the challenge. If you do it right, you can literally get 10 times the results for a tenth of the price.
The thing is, I haven't seen anybody do it right. I haven't. And everybody I've talked to, they're not even close. They're not even in the same country.
Well, it's too easy to stay with the status quo. So nobody's been pushing the boundaries. Nobody's been doing the challenge. They haven't challenged it. So I think you're absolutely right. I think you should do it, and I think the market is just right for it. I think
most people are doing it because they feel like they have to, not because it's a tool that's not that it's a tool that's highly effective and can drive traffic. They're doing it because, you got to be on Facebook. And it's like, well, you don't have to be on. Honestly, you could probably turn your Facebook off. It doesn't matter. I'm like, do you get any clients from there? No.
It depends on which marketing channel is successful for you. So right now for our shop, 70% of our customers come from Yelp. So I could turn Facebook off. I don't think I've made a Facebook post in a long time for
Well, I could teach you how to make Facebook work.
Can I be your first client in that group?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, sign me up.
So then you can just make Russo do all your stuff for you. I know how you think.
It's called delegation, baby.
That's right. Man,
hey Christian, your joke was good. You just
it wasn't that good.
It's not my best. It was just the opener. It was the warm up.
Yeah, he's got more.
Yeah,
he's got
I got a whole note card full of stuff.
How many you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should we go to questions? Oh, one more thing. Sorry. So this conspiracy stuff, Jeremy. I'm curious to hear where you're at with this, but I want to tell you about what happened last night. So downtown LA here, we've been hearing a lot of explosions, and like it sounds like fireworks, like an M80. I don't know. You constantly are hearing fireworks. Every once in a while, it sounds like a gunshot. Do you hear gunshots, Kosh?
Yeah, last night was crazy.
Yeah, last night for some reason was really crazy, and you kind of thought like the protesting and all that was slowing down, but anyways, there was a huge explosion that sounded like a car bomb, and it kind of shook the building. And so I went outside, like I got dressed and I went outside to see what it was. And this guy down here on the bridge had I don't know, dynamite had exploded in his hand, but it looked like he was trying to blow up this bridge over the 110, like anarchist cookbook kind of a thing, and he literally blew off his hand. He was running up the street with half of his arm gone, and the fire department, police, everything were here. Also, just a little
So wait,
side
wait,
note.
hold on,
He
hold
had
on. Did-
gasoline in his backpack.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. I'm
Dude,
not-
He's probably
this is not a
lucky
joke.
that wasn't worse. Now that
The
you
other
say
thing
that.
is, why doesn't that come up on the news? Why does a guy trying to blow up a bridge that blows up his own hand, like his hand is gone now, and he has gasoline in his backpack, doesn't make the local news or the LA Times? That in
Well,
and of
the
itself, Jeremy, is a conspiracy if you were looking
The
for
better
one.
question is this, though. When he was running by you, did you give him a high five?
Well, I wasn't there when he ran by. Security here at the building, one of the guys who's really nice was visibly shaken. He was really upset, and he was telling me what happened, and the guy was screaming, "Help me, help me," and his arm was gone. And there's blood all over out there on the street still. But he
So-
ran all the way up
That's
to the
crazy.
Chase building and ran in and was screaming. And people on this app called Citizen were like, how did he run that far? But I guess when those sort of things happen, you get crazy adrenaline. But he's got gasoline in his backpack, a quarter stick of dynamite or half a stick of dynamite, whatever it is, and it blows up on him. What in the world is going on that's okay? And they're talking about defunding the police department, cutting $150 million from the LAPD. What is your
Yeah,
take on this?
Well, I think there's definitely a lot of conspiracies at work here. And, to answer your question about why isn't the local news covering it, it's just not on their agenda. They don't want to cover the real deal and get out on the streets and see what's going on. When all the protests were going on, I watched the news pretty much every day, Channel 7, Channel 4, NBC, and ABC out of LA. And literally, they both were covering the same thing. And it looked like it was totally planned as to the message they were bringing to the people. So, my advice for you guys is get the heck out of LA now before you can, while you can, before they lock down the passes and don't let you guys out.
Yeah. What is this, Jeremy? So I'm holding up
Zero,
a
zero
again.
taxes. Zero taxes in Nevada, sir.
No, 0 people trying to blow up a bridge in Nevada over the 110. That's what it is.
Well, that's because Nevada doesn't have any bridges.
Yeah, they do. There's a bridge when you come out of Cosmopolitan, right?
Yeah.
Going back over to the Aria.
Those aren't called bridges. Those are people movers, sir.
Guy might have tried to blow it up.
Guy with the dynamite could have done a lot of damage to that little walkway for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, God, we're ready for your questions. Some are questions, some are comments.
Yes. God
Remember,
has many
God,
questions.
make sure you inform them that if you post a question, not a comment, a question, we'll send you some swag, T-shirt, coffee mug, stickers. We got new cool little stickers that are pretty dope. Have you seen those, the mini stickers?
Yep, with the dog on him.
Service Drive Revolution. Do they have a dog on them?
Maybe I'm thinking of a different sticker. We have cool stickers.
We do have cool stickers.
Yeah.
God doesn't think so, but I do.
God's like, come on, I just want to get this comment.
God loves the baby stickers. Thank you very much.
God's trying to not be so loud because Michael is yelling at him that he comes through all the microphones.
He can't
So
help
he's
it.
trying to be like muffled God, 3/4 God.
75% God.
70%, yeah, 75% God.
Would that just make him a prophet then, not necessarily God?
No, he's God.
He's God. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's funny is if Jesus and Aquaman had a fight, I think that Jesus would walk all over Aquaman.
Tell me
was
from
awesome.
God's son like that.
Yeah, I was laughing even before you started that joke. That was great.
God, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm not.
God's cool with it. This first question comes from our email. Chris, when it comes to MPIs, it's like pulling teeth to get them done. Is there a way that you have used to get them done? To make it easier for me, I've been a service manager for 6 months, and I haven't made a dent in those numbers. Let me know. Thanks for the advice.
Yeah, so I'm working on a course for this actually that I think you will enjoy. It's called Leadership. It always confuses me when managers say, "Oh, my advisors won't do walkarounds or my techs won't do inspections," and I just like the first thing that comes to mind is I wonder like, Who's in charge? Who's leading? I would have a hard time admitting that personally. Like I just would. Like you got to go get a mirror and you need to look in the mirror and do some analysis of yourself and your leadership skills, because you're in charge, and what you just said is the people that you allow to collect paychecks, that you allow to come in and work for you every day, won't do the thing that's most vital for the company to be successful. I don't get it. It's like we own a casino, but we don't allow gambling.
Right. And I think that
We
that's the
own
thing.
a water filtering plant, and we don't allow water.
It just doesn't
We
happen.
own a gasoline refinery, but we don't allow oil or gasoline anywhere in our refinery. Like the two most, like, what do advisors do? What do technicians do? And basically, like, I don't know. I don't understand how it's negotiable. Do you have a joke for this?
No, to me, this is one of those dead
This
serious
is
topics.
Serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Serious as a heart attack. It's leadership.
I have an acronym for them.
Okay.
CANT. Constant and never-ending training. And it's, you know what was interesting, talking to you guys in the lead-in, right now, when you talk about this pressure of business that's coming in our shop, like car count has just exploded this week, and we're seeing it at every shop and every dealership. Numbers are just going crazy. When you have this immense amount of pressure, it's really going to test your systems. So he's a product of his systems, and unfortunately, the systems aren't built properly to keep the reinforcement training that needs to be there. There's a lot of reinforcement coaching that needs to be done. And you can't just train it one time and think that they're going to get it. You got to constantly go back, monitor, rehearse, record, see the results, and go back and retrain it. And you may have to retrain everybody 3 or 4 times in, a 6-month period until they finally get it, because everybody's going to go back to their old ways. So remember, you can't fall backwards into your old habits. You've got a constant and never-ending train.
Yeah, and so, let's say I come into your service department, or any of us do, and we're going to try to fix that. So we're going to do a couple things. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the techs that want to do it, and we're going to hold them very, very close. If I don't have that, if I don't have anybody that's going to be my model, I hire that person. When I hire them, I tell them, listen, all these guys might not be here in a couple months. I'm holding you to a different standard. You're going to inspect every car. You're going to be the model. This is what you're going to do. And I might bring in 1 or 2 new techs to do that. Meanwhile, I'm going to start coaching everybody up. I'm going to play games. I'm going to have contests for inspections. I'm going to, we're going to sharpen our knife. We're going to practice. I'm going to make it fun. But at the same time, the accountability is going to start to creep up. And then I'm going to get rid of somebody. I'm going to draw a line somewhere, and it's just very quickly going to become non-negotiable. But I wouldn't be able to function if that was a negotiable. It's anarchy, and you can't allow anarchy. So I would slowly start to close the box, but it wouldn't take that long. I'm talking about weeks, not months.
Agreed. I put my seal of approval on that. Boom.
That's good,
Boom.
though.
Okay, God, what's the next one?
This next one comes from YouTube. Before COVID hit, I was gearing up to go more digital, but now that we are closed and after watching your video, I've decided to do a 180 on digital and bring back old school hands-on customer service. I feel like this could be such an opportunity to distinguish us from the pack and keep going into the future. No question. That was a comment.
Congratulations.
On the right path. Going straight ahead.
All right. What's the next one, Gon?
This next one also comes from YouTube. I feel like this content is seriously underrated and underviewed. With how many disastrous service departments there are, I would think more people would be flocking to this stuff. Maybe it's because a lot of advisors are still part of the older generation and is less in touch.
Thanks. Is that my mom? My mom posted that?
It is not your
Is it
mom.
you, Christian?
No, but I, again, agree with
Thank you
Yeah.
for the nice, kind words. Very sweet.
We also agree that we'll have work for a really long time.
This next one comes from Facebook. I saw your video about psychopath business partners. I just had the rug pulled out from under me by someone just like that and created a scenario where he got all the control and got all other partners to side with him, and he took me for all my money, which was almost $30K, and countless time and energy spent helping him. Jesus, when will they lose?
So I believe he's referring to a Business Outlaws episode, not SDR, right? Because Big Mike and I talked about that a couple times on there. So yeah, I'm way better at pointing out psychopaths. I think I've gotten rid of all the psychopaths in our company because I had a couple. The last one I kind of still lingers a little bit, but is gone. But yeah, we're psychopath free here. It wasn't easy though. Those psychopaths are hard to get rid of.
Oh, they're leeches almost, right?
They are.
It's pretty crazy.
Because they feed off of the drama, and so they keep trying to gaslight you and make stuff up, and they lie if the truth is better. But yeah,
We'd almost do a whole
sorry that happened.
We could almost do a whole show on gaslighting, actually.
We really could.
Holy
do a whole
cats.
show on gaslighting. The thing that I come back to with that though is it's all my fault. I allowed it to happen. The older I get, though, and the more I give Big Mike a lot of credit because I didn't really understand it until he really started pointing it out. And then I really went to work on learning it and figuring it out and read books on it. And I just going back in time, like, I can't believe how many psychopaths I've dealt with because I'm a codependent. So, like, I try to please people. And I get taken advantage of in the worst way. And it's all about boundaries and, holding your line. I pride myself on trying to be really fair. And like this last psychopath we had working here, they took advantage of that. I let them, but they did. So, yeah. Do you want to add anything to that, Jeremy? I feel like Jeremy's probably better at this than I am.
No, I'm just kind of disappointed in the questions this week. It's like
they're more like comments.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a challenge. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to be on vacation for 2 weeks. So we're going up to Yellowstone. Totally stoked to spend some time with the family. And I am going to give a $100 bill to the best question that comes in over the next 3 weeks that we read live on the next SDR that I'm on. So $100 bill coming your way.
Throwing your own skin in.
Bribing you to ask a good question. Yeah. Are there any more, God?
There's one more comment, but it's not a question. It's a comment. And it comes from YouTube. I left a family-owned small service center and used car dealer to go work for a BMW dealership. They told me that they don't rip people off. Then 3 months down the line, I got multiple complaints from the manager that I wasn't selling enough. I will not tell a customer they need a $5K bill on a $1K car. After telling the manager that the place was an overpriced scam center, I asked for my job back at the small, independent, family-run center and went back. The way you talked about it in your video was the normal, tell them it needs something, even if it can wait another 2 years. And to me, that's not acceptable.
So this is another comment?
Yeah. Okay. We have never, ever condoned overselling a customer. In fact, we're in the hundreds of how many times on this show I've said, if you wouldn't sell it to your mother, don't sell it, and treat customers like family. So you're kind of a dick. Like, well, if you want, go. What I would do if I was you, go start your own show. Don't listen to our show.
That's not going to happen.
Seriously.
Hey, so
we have never condoned overselling anything to anybody.
No, our job is to educate and inform the customer and fully disclose everything the car needs every time it's in and help the customer make a good decision based on their goals for the car. So something that is due in 3 years is going to be labeled as green on the checklist. That's not even going to be brought into the conversation. So I don't know what this guy's smoking, but I think he's way off base with his comment.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely service managers that might take over a BMW store or a Toyota store, anything that over recommend and aren't ethical. But you shouldn't work for them. I wouldn't either. There's no way I would
No,
work in
you
a
know,
service drive where I was told I had to sell things that customers didn't need. The thing is, though, is from your tone, I can't tell if you're a pain in the ass or if you really are ethical. Right?
No,
Yeah, I think- Go
Christian,
ahead.
the floor is yours. Go ahead, sir.
So, based on, there was a little more to the comment than what God shared with us today. I think the
Well,
thing.
you read this?
Yeah.
You're checking it
Well,
out?
thanks for sharing the insider knowledge with us, bro. Like, leave us
So there's
hanging.
something that's really natural to you guys having no clue what's going to happen before it happens, which is a lot of fun. It's kind of like my jokes. Like, I have all the jokes prepared, Jeremy, but I don't tell you a darn thing because it's great to see the look on your face when I tell them. But I do believe that that word ethical is being used in convenience in this whole comment, right? So I think that what our responsibility, as Jeremy said, is to make sure that we're telling people the truth and also letting them know what is due or not due, and then properly defining what preventative maintenance is. And I think that we have a band of people that are service advisors out there that feel like the ethics and the truth is to not tell anybody anything and just assume that the cars are going to live forever and they don't need any kind of preventative maintenance. But if you've worked in a shop before, you know that's not true.
Oh, well, the stats, like whoever this person is, can't argue with the stats that preventative maintenance saves people money in the long run. In fact, a lot of manufacturers recommend, like, let's just talk about BMW and power steering fluid. There's literally metal chunks in the racks, and the racks on a lot of BMWs are disposable at 100,000 miles, and they don't recommend to replace the fluid. Right?
Because it's lifetime or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
so if it was my mom's car, I would tell her replace the fluid. There's going to be metal chunks in there, and you're going to have to buy a rack. And it's like that with a lot of manufacturers because the manufacturers try to get customers to perceive that they never maintained them. But the truth of the matter is the cars aren't disposable at 10 years or 100,000 miles. The average car on the road right now is almost 13 years old, the highest it's ever been. And if you think a 13-year-old car didn't need its fluids changed at some point, I'm not a tech, but I'll tell you there's a lot of techs that'll tell you that that's not, it's just not factual. But what else? What else did the guy say?
Well, I have a comment. There's another side to look at this. So it goes from a small mom and pop over to, was it a dealer? Is that correct?
A BMW dealer, he said.
Right. So, and then they judge you based off of your sales ability, right? So your KPIs now become, sales are the highlight. Now, here's one of the things I've discovered working on both sides of the fence. A lot of times, some of the independents can create a business model that is working on older vehicles, and then they're triaging and just become a repair shop. And then the cars become a little bit older, so the maintenance is kind of out, is taken out of the equation. But when you go to an expert and you have expert technicians that understand these cars inside and out, down to every nut, bolt, and torque specification, and they know how to make these cars purr, and just seeing there's differences that come out of what's recommended and what's not. So it possibly could be that the advisor went over to this new place with a bunch of experts and just was overwhelmed with what they were recommending and felt that this stuff didn't really need done when in fact it actually did, and it's going to provide a better product for the customer. So there's a lot to this that we just simply don't have the answers to right now.
Yeah. Anything else that we should know about this guy?
Maybe not about this guy, but I do think it's important that I tell everybody that I wasn't.
That was your question?
That
That was your question?
You laughed before the delivery. This is really getting challenging.
Your conspiracy theory, Jeremy, is
That was your question? You were the one that actually sent that in?
It's not even a question.
No,
it's a comment.
that wasn't me.
These
But
are the worst questions we've ever had.
it's been
We're
rough.
not
know,
gonna
that's
do
why-
the question segment anymore if we don't. get
No,
better
we are.
questions.
That's why I'm breaking out
He's
the
got the
cash.
cash.
I'm
Oh,
going
he's
to make it
flashing the cash.
rain.
Holy
Oh, look
cow!
at him.
It has been busy in
Send,
Hesperia.
Doggy
send your
dog.
questions in.
It would appear that Jeremy's been to a strip club before. The way he's
Yeah,
doing
he
that
made
with
it
the
rain
mic.
for sure.
Have
Yep.
you
This is
done
my-
that at a strip club?
Cracker Barrel.
Will you come visit me in Vegas?
Yeah,
That
I
strip
will.
club's there.
No, I won't go there, but I'll go to Vegas.
You know, Jeremy, that this year COVID has kept me from taking my 1 month vacation in the Bahamas.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. You typically take a month off in the Bahamas every year?
No, normally I can't take that vacation because of time and money.
So this year it's COVID?
Ruined your imaginary vacation.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
Down with COVID.
Down with COVID. Okay. Are we good, God? Is that all the comments?
That is all the comments. God is going to crack a beer and put his feet up because they gave him a headache.
Yes, right? I agree. Thank you, though. Good job. Sorry about what Christian said about your son.
That's okay. He's a problematic child.
Oh, jeez.
Why are service
realize-
managers the future owners, general managers, leaders in transportation? I don't care if you're a truck dealership, a car dealership, an independent shop. Service managers are going to be the new leaders in the industry. And let me tell you why. Because most general managers or dealers came from the sales department. They know nothing about service. Their egos are tied to how many cars they sell. So when they wake up in the morning, they're thinking, how many cars are we going to sell today? If they're sitting in a bar and you're like, how are you doing? They're going to talk about how many cars they sold, what their front end, what their back end gross is most of the time. They know very little about service. In fact, I wish I had $1 every time a dealer had told me, can you just take my service department so I don't have to deal with it? Like literally they only have it because they have to have it, right? And so as the industry is changing and manufacturers are doing everything they can to go direct to consumer, and as we're going through this and factories are shut down, there's going to be disruption in the pipeline. All of a sudden, service is sexy. All of a sudden, fixed ops is where it's at, right? And now the flip to this and what's concerning and what's dangerous is just like dealers, general managers know nothing about service, service managers know nothing about financial statements. They know nothing about sales. Most of the time, a service manager came from the shop and they were tech that was the most trustworthy, did good work, ethical, and got promoted up through the ranks, never trained on financials. How many times, Christian, have you done a boot camp where didn't you just tell me that a manager, 15 years?
Yeah,
Never seen a financial.
just yesterday.
15 years, never seen a financial. We see it all the time. So we need to train service managers. We need to train them on financials. We need to train them on sales. One of the best things that ever happened in my career is I went to F&I school. I sold cars because I come from fixed ops. I was a very successful general manager. I owned my own dealership, and I came from fixed ops. I'm a success story when it comes to that. But I knew that I needed to understand F&I. I knew that I needed to understand salespeople. You know, managing advisors and managing salespeople are two completely different animals, right? You were a sales manager. It's a completely different world. And it's an experience you can't fake.
Yeah, and
And you start
can't
at
fake
zero. Like the thing that we take for granted in service is the traffic's kind of coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Like the traffic's coming in, you don't really have to work that hard for it. Sales is zero. Like nobody's coming in unless you do something. Like you might have, like let's say you're a Toyota dealership, you might have one hot model. Everybody wants the new Highlander hybrid or whatever. But after you sell your 9 of those, everything else is work.
Yep.
You gotta understand marketing. You gotta understand sales. You got to understand how to manage salespeople, systems at a completely different level. It's different and it's harder in different ways. It's not that service isn't hard, but it's just different, right?
Agreed.
And so we've been talking about it over and over again in our coaching groups, how we're going to take service managers, we're going to turn them into general managers. That's the path we want, and we want to show them through the steps, like how you do that, through the training and the mentoring. We actually came up with a cool list of steps in the process.
Chris, do you know why this is also going to be true in the future and why it's really relevant now?
Tell me.
Well, Peter Drucker says that the principal purpose of business is to do what? A, create a profit. B, create 5-star reviews. Or C, to create a customer. The
Peter
answer...
Drucker said 5-star reviews.
No, he didn't.
Highly doubt that.
Yeah, because he was like this. He was like alive in the 1940s, right?
Dude,
like
he
the
just passed away a
father of
few years
management.
ago. Yeah, he's
A
like
few years ago, like 85.
maybe
But
10
keep
years.
going. So profit and customer experience, basically.
No, he
Collecting
didn't say
customers.
profit. He says that the principal purpose of business is to create a customer. Now, here's what's changing. When you look at the sales side of a dealership, where do they create their customers from? A lot of it's product driven. And now with technology, we can take the salesperson out and just go right to the app and let the app sell for you, right? Now, what's going to change is this. If the principal purpose of your business is to create a customer, where are you touching the most customers at? It's going to be on the service drive. So somebody who has a service mindset is going to be able to take that sales potential and take that funnel and convert at a higher rate because they already understand, already have the relationship, already have the trust built in with the customer. And then it's just a simple process of overlapping the products that we sell. And when you're serving a customer in the service department, making a sale is super easy, selling them a new vehicle, because the need is there. You already have the relationship. So I think this is a concept whose time has come, but it's built on the foundation, the old school foundation of building customers and then letting the profits and the money roll in. So I think you're absolutely spot on with this.
One other thing I would say, Jeremy, and I've been guilty of being a prophet before. So I've been accused of being psychic, reading people's minds, interrogation, hypnosis.
You've been right 100% of the times when you've called me being late for a meeting, so I give you that.
Yeah, so I'm very intuitive. I predict that in the next 10 years, manufacturers will consolidate. So I don't know who it'll be, but let's say, just for the fun of it, BMW eats up Nissan and Renault or something like that. There'll be consolidation that happens, but there will be some manufacturers that go direct to consumer and the dealership model goes away for those manufacturers. I don't think it'll be all of them, but there will be some. And I believe that the service manager in that situation will become the new dealer and will own the service shop. They will need to do warranty work, but they won't need the front end, the sales department, because they'll go direct to consumer. And the service part will be available as a franchise that can be bought by the service manager in some situations. The dealers that we have right now, the dealer body we have right now, is so disconnected from service and how valuable service is, and they will just go away and go into other industries. They'll be landlords, they'll buy other businesses, but they won't be able to put their head around just owning service shops, because it's not a match with how they see themselves, their self-image, their ego. And a lot of service managers will end up owning those businesses in the next 10 years.
You know what's interesting? I like to take a journey back in time. Go back 100 years ago to the 1920s. And when you look at the development of the automobile and how it started to progress, the dealership model that we have now was born out of that era, right? So, Henry Ford came out with a production line, changed the way that they produce cars and all that. And I think right now we're living in a very interesting time where a lot of industries are going through these massive shifts, and our industry is definitely no different. I think the automotive industry that we see it today is going to be completely gone and completely different in 15 years. I think there's going to be a whole new model that comes in. We may even have new car manufacturers that can actually build, whether it's a fuel cell vehicle or an electric vehicle that the consumers want, that totally goes against everything that every car manufacturer does right now. So I think there's a lot of paradigm shifts coming up. So it's very interesting. And, Chris, when you look at the dealership model that we have now, one of the hardest parts from the manufacturer is getting service coverage out to, places like Hesperia, California, right? It's just getting their customer service. So these service centers, I think, is definitely going to come true. That's a brilliant idea. I think it would work out great.
Yeah, they're going to need to be able to do the service work, but the purchase will mostly be done online, special order. The idea right now that dealers have millions of dollars in inventory that they're paying flooring expense or they're paying an interest payment on that inventory is going to go away. You know, that's a thing of the past. People are going to order their cars the way they want them. They're going to customize them, and then they're going to be delivered. And walking on the lot and picking one out will be less and less of a thing. And the business model just won't support that. And I see that coming out of this, interest rates will go up because we'll have hyperinflation. Interest rates might go back up to 8, 9, 10%. Because it's just kind of, that's how the cycle goes. And at that point, it just won't pay for dealers to have a big inventory. And that's when some of them will flip. Not all of them. I think that, Highline probably will stay kind of where it's at. It'll change and morph. But I do think some of the manufacturers aren't going to be able to survive. And they see, because I've sat in the meetings, they see the dealer body as an obstacle to them servicing customers and selling cars the way they want to.
Yeah, I think it's really clear that the direct-to-consumer thing is on the horizon right now. Even with Tesla, like, you don't go and look at the lot.
It's super interesting that Toyota saved Tesla, gave them money and a plant in General Motors, like literally saved them because they want that deflection. They want somebody to be the first one through the wall. And so Tesla was the first one through the wall. But now, oddly, even in Texas, where he had a hard time selling, and if you go to Dallas, there's more Teslas than anything. It's like a badge of honor there. Even though he can't sell them there, it's a badge of honor. Now he's going to open a plant there. And so they'll have to allow it, right? And then the biggest state that still was the holdout that really matters, because Texas does sell a lot of cars, will now be direct to consumer too.
Yep, and you can do it in a shopping mall.
So just my point is, service is the future. And so if you're a dealer, if you're a service manager watching this, you need to get hip to how fixed ops works, how, like Jeremy said, Peter Drucker said, how profit is created, because that's what business is about. And reach out, let us know, we'll help you. But that's our model now as a company, is moving more towards how do we take service managers that have been undertrained but are good leaders and turn them into the future general managers and dealers, shop owners in our industry. Any other,
awesome.
Before we wrap it up, Jeremy, any other conspiracy theories?
Well, no, I mean, just that whole concept you talked about is going to be consumer driven. I went and looked online for a new Chevy Suburban last night because mine's getting a little weathered, but I couldn't get exactly what I wanted. And I couldn't help but notice that, the website feels archaic. It's just an old model. And as the boomers continue to move on into retirement and pass on, the new consumers are definitely going to drive this. And I'd just be curious to see how many clicks Chevrolet gets on their website where people are actually shopping for a car and they go through the process, but they don't pull the trigger on it. And somebody smart could figure out how to convert that a lot more. And, we probably need another Lee Iacocca to come in and change the way that cars are built and the process, because if you could customize your car down to the stitching and the interior, you got a powerful product right there. So you're
I don't think
it,
they don't have that technology. Some of the manufacturers do, but they don't. But you can build a Porsche, you can spec out a BMW like that. What was ordering your Tesla like?
I walked in essentially doing it all on an iPad. Like, what color do you want?
In the store in a mall?
In the store, but you're not really looking at inventory or anything like that. It's like, okay, build it, and then here we have one, we'll produce it for you, it'll be delivered for you in 4 weeks.
So you picked out exactly what you want. And
exactly what I wanted, and it was just
4 weeks?
Yeah, no, they said 4 weeks, it took 2 weeks.
Wow. Yeah. That's the other thing that Tesla does that's really smart that GM and other manufacturers need to understand is less options. there's so many options on some of those that like it's too much.
Yeah, there might have been 7 options in total, like with
Yeah.
the auto
But
drive.
if you talk
and
about
then-
a Suburban,
yeah.
how many options there are? How many options
50.
are there, Jeremy?
Well, there's 3 different packages, and they all have like 8 different selections on it, so probably 24.
Yeah. People think they want options, but the truth is they just want a cool, exciting product, you know?
Yep.
And so even that model of how the manufacturers make money is going to change. There's going to be less
is.
options and better manufacturing, more tailored to what people want. Well, thank you for joining us today, and
Thank
we
you,
hope
guys.
you have a great week. And we will see you again real soon on Service Drive Revolution. Thanks for watching this episode of Service Drive Revolution. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when we post new episodes. I'm Chris Collins, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Chris Bulldog Collins. And I'll see you again on the next episode.